Hello and happy Thursday, everyone. My name is Jasmine Russell, and I am coming to you from Miami through Dr. Brandt's IGTV. So, hello to Dr. Brandt's employees and to Stefan and to all of the fan base and all of the different offices around the world. And thank you for continuing with our work from home wellness half hours. So I am recording this at nighttime because I tried to record all day, but there's people on the street, and there's a wonderful thing. However, the people on the street are making a lot of noise, and so we're here doing a nighttime one, which actually I find to be very inspiring. I'm all about living in the moment and finding inspiration in my moment rather than going by this absolute plan of what we're going to do and what's going to happen. So I'm changing it up a little bit from what we have been doing. We are still going to be doing a mindfulness practice. We are still going to be doing a meditation, but we're going to do a little resolving of issues as well. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we're gonna fix the world right now? No. We're not gonna do that. Luckily, that's not our job. Our job instead is to become aware of how we are so that we may understand what we can resolve within our own behavior, because we're coming up on, our 50 something day of our quarantine, our safer at home experience. And what that can begin to mean mentally is that the novelty of staying home is starting to wear off. It can mean that all of the things that we said we were going to do with our spare time that we didn't do is starting to weigh on us. That the word that we're trying to sometimes avoid, of isolation, is starting to take a toll on our image of ourselves. And so I'm going to introduce a new word for you. And that word is called a Sankalpa. Now, a Sankalpa is a Sanskrit word, and it's commonly just translated to mean a resolution. And we're all familiar with the word resolution. Resolution is something that we say at the beginning of a new year or the beginning of the period. It's something dramatic that we're going to do. And not only do we have New Year's resolutions that we give ourselves maybe a week or a whole month to come through with, that we either are doing really good on and we're patting ourselves on the back, or we haven't fulfilled and we're giving ourselves a hard time about. Well, many of us had these COVID-19 quarantine resolutions as well, that now that we're going on to the third month of this period, we're going, oh, maybe I should stop telling people I'm going to learn Italian. Maybe I should stop telling people about all those Yale courses I'm going to take. Maybe all those resolutions that I thought I was going to do had nothing to do with the free time that I said I didn't have prior. And we're starting to actually have to look at ourselves. And some of us, myself included, we're being a little hard on ourselves about it. And this is normal. This is like what happens in any kind of isolation time. Even the people in the space station go through this period. And we can begin to withdraw a little bit. So what can we do with that withdrawal? The word Sankalpa does not directly translate to resolve or resolution. In fact, there's not an exact word in English for it, because it's actually split between two words, san and kalpa. The word san means truth. Now, truth in and of itself in Sanskrit is like this big, broad, vague term that describes an aspect of ourself, an aspect of our consciousness, an aspect of reality that is pretty uncomprehendable, because we live in a world of, what we see and what we perceive and what we project. So truth is more about our values, okay? And the word kalpa is a pact. So for all means and purposes that we are going to be using Sankalpa today, it's to establish a new value. Because as much as we can come up with all these resolutions of this outward behavior that we want to change and what we think is our character, which is still based off of behavior that we want to change, the change needs to come from something that's much deeper rooted, and that's what meditation does. What meditation does for us is it allows us to sit quietly, be still, and allow all of those deep-rooted values that are creating behavior or not creating behavior that we wanted to come to the surface so that we can lay down a new seed of value. So that all those other creations and resolves and cool stuff that we want to do becomes a spontaneous action of joy rather than another chore to give ourselves during this time. Now, instead of, asking you to, okay, what is this resolve? What's your issue? And see if you can figure it out in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to make it very easy. I'm going to give you a Sankalpa to start with that'll make it easier for you to later on in your own practices or later on in the following weeks as we continue to practice together, be able to actually understand, accept, and have gratitude for the values that you already show so that those can then contribute to your other goals, because that's what resolutions really are in modern day. They're just goals. And it's okay if we don't achieve every single one of our goals in the next 20 days, or if we didn't do it in the last 55, or if we don't do it in the next 9. What's the most important thing is that we understand the values that we have, and if there's one that we want to change, we know what it is so we can establish a new one, a new Sankalpa, a new resolve for our day-to-day life. And so the Sankalpa that you're going to use when we get to that point in the practice, it's very easy. The Sankalpa that you're going to use is, I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. I'm going to say it one more time because the best way to teach is 3 ways: repetition, repetition, repetition. I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. And then from that, when you stop putting up the fight against your own value system, it'll stop hiding and it'll start to reveal itself to you. And then maybe from there we can be at peace in this moment so that we can create more, do more, be more, have more. All right? So go ahead and close your eyes. For this practice, you will be sitting up. Typically, this is a practice where you lie down, but even though it's nighttime for me, it's going to be daytime for you when this gets released. So sit up straight so you don't end up napping through the rest of your workday. Straight enough that you can feel the spine strong, but not so straight that the muscles are tense. So take a deep breath in through your nose. And rather than telling yourself to relax, that just typically makes us more tense because we're like, how do I do that? Deep breath in through the nose, hold it. And then when you exhale, you're going to think and feel the meaning of the word surrender. Exhale and surrender. Give away the weight of your body into the surface beneath you. Give away all of your tension within the legs, the hips, the waist and the ribs. Surrender the tension of the shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, elbows, and hands, wrists and hands. Soften the expression on the forehead, around the eyes, upper lip and the lower lip. And release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Look into the back of your eyelids. And for the rest of this practice, your only instruction is to simply listen. As I continue to guide your awareness, all you need to do is listen and allow your awareness to follow. With your eyes closed, come into this state of listening. Listening to the world around you, listening to what's going on outside of your room, outside of your home, outside of wherever you are. And I want you to set the dial of your listening to receive. Microphone is off. You are set to the tone of receive. Receive all sounds without judgment. Receive all sounds without attempting to identify what the sound is, where it's coming from, or even why it's occurring. Take all the story away from it. Just receive. And begin to listen for the most distant sound. Now, it's okay if the thinking mind is still going. Your instruction was not to stop thinking. It's simply to listen. And to take your awareness to the most distant sound. And as soon as you think that you have located the most distant sound, I want you to release it. And look for another one. Receive another sound. Moving your attention from one sound to the next. Receiving each sound. Without holding on to it, though. Receiving it and letting it go. And then bring your attention closer to the sounds occurring right here within the room with you. Listen to the sounds occurring within your room. Still moving the attention around, receiving all sounds, still without telling a story. But begin to look for the more subtle sounds, the ones that aren't so obvious to your receiver. Bring the attention closer still to the sounds occurring right there within your very own body. The sound of your own breath. Sound of your heartbeat. maybe even the sound of your internal organs. And if for any reason you get more absorbed in listening to your own thoughts, that's okay, you're still listening. As long as you're aware that it is happening, you're still listening. When you realize that you are, just listen back into the sound of my voice. And now looking into the back of your eyelids, begin to listen into this space. The space that appears to only be in front of you. Allow this space to completely surround, however, your whole body. Above you, side to side, below you. This empty space. Become aware of it also behind you. Panning out an infinite length in infinite directions. And listen into this space. And as different thoughts begin to arise, rather than trying to control them, surrender them, let them go. Receive them, and then let them go. And notice the sound of your own internal voice, your own internal dialogue. Notice any pictures, memories that are arising. And 3 times mentally say to yourself, I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. One more time, but this time with your own internal voice. And really, just as you felt the meaning of the word surrender, feel the meaning of these words. I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. And then come back to that state of listening. Listening to your present moment that includes all of the external sounds and all of your internal sounds. And as I begin to name off these following images, as you're looking into the back of the eyelids, allow the vision or the memory of what these symbols are. Come to the imagination or even begin to be projected in the back of the eyelids. But this should be an effortless practice. Effortless practice. So don't intentionally try to project an image in the back of the eyelids. If one arises, okay. If you're just able to imagine or remember what the image is, that's okay too. But what we want to do is to allow our attention to be completely absorbed in the experience of the image, and the color and the texture as well as in the emotional sensation that the texture or that the image triggers within us. And then we're going to quickly release it, surrender it, and move on to the next one. Starting with a bright yellow fuzzy bumblebee. All of the senses involved. What is the experience? Ocean waves crashing against the sand. A puppy drinking water. A pinkish red juicy apple. Honey dripping down a honeycomb. A bright white candle flame. A lizard sunbathing on a rock. The smile of an older man, an elderly man. A large tree. Rows of books in a library. A water well with a big wooden bucket. A small baby elephant. And a bright red rose. Turn your gaze to the back of the eyelids once more, releasing whatever image. And bring your attention now to the sensations within your body. Feel the presence of your whole body. Feel the space that it occupies. Noticing any sensation without trying to control it or change it. Accepting it exactly as it is. Releasing the judgment of it. Just remaining still with it. Knowing that very soon you'll be able to surrender it, but to stay with it and accept it now. And move your attention from your hands to your wrists, feeling all sensations upon the skin. from your wrists to your forearms, forearms to your elbows, elbows to your upper arms, to your shoulders, to your neck, to your armpits, chest, upper back, right side of the ribs and left side of the ribs, waist and hips, your bum, your pelvis, your thighs, knees, shins, and calves. Feel the experience without changing it. Accept it. In stillness. Your ankles, soles of your feet, and tops of your feet. Your toes. Surrender the body again into the surface beneath you. And bring your attention to the very crown of your head. And begin to feel the space that your brain occupies. Your eyes, ears, nose, cheekbones, upper lip and lower lip, chin, jaw, the back of the head, the neck. Let the corners of your mouth turn into the hint of a smile. And mentally say once more, I am willing to see and accept myself exactly as I am. 3 times. And for the remainder of the practice, it won't be long. Sit in stillness, seeing and accepting yourself, all thoughts included, exactly as you are, with no need to change anything. With the corners of your mouth and the hint of a smile, creating the only thing that we ever lack, which is a sensation of gratitude and acceptance for the present moment. Without a need to change you, yourself, or the moment. All is well in your world. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale from the mouth. When you're ready, open your eyes. Wow, I love that meditation. Thank you so much. If you'd like to do more meditations like that, I teach these practices called Yoga Nidra, where I can coach you into finding a Sankalpa to create the different changes and resolves that you really would like to see in your life. And I can give you these practices to do every day, actually lying down, to take a little afternoon nap and do something productive with it, by contacting me at atmashanti108. Until next week, thank you so very much. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you.